Live viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Uyi Agumafwebe. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365 and free to air on Nigecomsat. President Bola Tinubu has announced the establishment of a disaster relief fund in Maiduguri, Borno State to assist Nigerian citizens impacted by floods and other disasters. The president announced these at the Borno Government House when he visited the state to sympathize with the government and people over the recent flooding from Alau Dam. Sharon Ajay has details.
President Bola Tinubu visited the Shehu of Borno in an internally displaced persons camp at the government secondary school in Maiduguri and had a drive-through of the areas affected by the disaster. President Tinubu, who urged the private sector to contribute to the fund, says the relief fund is expedient as the climate becomes more unpredictable and many places in the country are vulnerable to its vagaries.
People of Borno, Yobe, and other affected states, I say we will pull together a very good program for Nigeria to recover from this calamity and do better in the interest of our people. I've been thinking of how do we tackle this kind of a problem, whether it's climate change or any other means. But there must be a disaster relief fund.
At the palace, the Shehu of Borno, Abubakar El-Kanami, thanked the president for the honor of visiting the state after the vice president, Kashim Shettima, has earlier represented him. The Shehu of Borno urged the president to investigate the cause of the Alau Dam collapse and overflow into the town to prevent a recurrence.
2 is 1. That is, to find out the root cause of this flooding and address appropriately so as to avoid future occurrence, as over 80% of this town has been affected by this disaster.
The governor of Borno State thanked the president for the visit and commended the prompt intervention of the federal government agencies, particularly NEMA, and the military's theater command in evacuating stranded victims.
The magnitude of the damage we have, as it has been said by His Royal Highness, the Shehu of Borno, we want you to look into the possibility of reconstructing this dam with new hydraulic structures that can handle natural flow of water.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, who accompanied the president on the visit, says the National Assembly will collaborate with the executive to establish the fund. Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
Thank you, Sharon. Elder statesman and former Chief of Defense Staff, General Theophilus Danjuma, retired, has tasked all service chiefs to end banditry and return the country to the path of peace. Danjuma made this known at Armed Forces Officers' Mess in Abuja during the book launch titled Big Boots Lessons for My Military Service, authored by Solomon Udonwa, a retired Major General in the Nigerian Army. The retired top military officer, who decried the ongoing abduction and killings, said there are no excuses for the lingering insecurity ravaging the country, noting that it has to stop. Elder statesman and business magnate Aminu Dantata has donated a sum of 1.5 billion naira to flood victims that ravaged some parts of Maiduguri, Borno State capital. Dantata made the donation when he led a delegation from Kano to Government House, Maiduguri, to share their moments of grief. He extended his heartfelt condolences to Governor Babagana Zulum, the governments and people of the state, especially those who lost their loved ones to the flood. Similarly, the United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria, Mohammed Fall, has announced the sum of $6 million from the Nigeria Humanitarian Fund to support flood victims in Borno State. Alau Dam, located just 110 miles to the south of Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State, collapsed on September 10, compelling hundreds of thousands of people to flee from their homes. Let's stay in Nigeria's northeast now. 7 people have lost their lives to cholera outbreak in Yola North local government area of Adamawa State, while 71 others have been hospitalized. In a statement on its X page, the agency stated that the cholera outbreak was caused by a recent flood that contaminated the community's drinking water sources, noting that around 100 people were also under monitoring and observation. Elsewhere, President Bola Tinubu has pledged his commitment to assist the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, in establishing an efficient digital entity system. The commission stated that the number of Nigerians with national identification number has increased to 110 million, an indication of a 2.3% increase from the 107.34 million that was recorded as of the end of May 2024. The president stressed that every Nigeria's unique proof of identity underscores their fundamental right to protection, sustenance, and support as recognized members of society, regardless of their location. Lagos State government has issued contravention notices to over 280 illegal property owners and occupiers in the Mayagun waterfront scheme, all in the bid to protect the state's coastal areas and prevent the proliferation of slums. Commissioner for Waterfront Infrastructure Development, Ekundayo Alebiosu, disclosed this in a statement posted on Lagos X platform. Alebiosu was quoted in the statement as saying that the contravention notices served require the occupants to provide necessary documentation and approvals justifying their occupation of the properties within 7 days. Millions of Muslims around the world are still celebrating Eid al-Maulud, the birthday of Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The celebration of Eid al-Maulud is an opportunity for Muslims to reflect on the teachings and life of Prophet Muhammad, as well as serve as a reminder of his role in guiding humanity towards righteousness and moral integrity. Let's turn to different story now, where Edo State's People's Democratic Party governorship candidate, Dr. Asuego Dalo, says the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, does not have the power to determine the next governor of the state. His statement was in response to Wike's claim that he told Governor Godwin Obaseki when he came with the PDP candidate that he would not back Ighodalo at the September 21 governorship poll in the state. Meanwhile, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has urged Edo residents to vote for the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Dr. Asuego Dalo, and his running mates, Osarodion Oge, in the upcoming gubernatorial election scheduled for Saturday, September 21. At rallies in Igara, Lampese, and Ibilo in Akoko Edo local government area of the state, Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan appealed to Ebira people and other tribes to support PDP to ensure continued dividend of democracy in the state. Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma has assured that all Progressive Congress aspirants who contested the party's primaries for the local government election but failed to scale through will be refunded the money spent in purchase of forms. Uzodimma gave the assurance after attending Sunday Mass at the Government House Chapel in Owerri, the state's capital. Kekelomo Okere tells us more.
The Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma maintained that there is no going back on the date for the local government elections, insisting that September 21st, 2024 remains sacrosanct, pledging that only the funds spent on purchasing form from the party will be refunded, excluding expenses made without receipt, such as those spent on consultations.
I want to call on all our leaders to bear with me and make this sacrifice. All the people that apply as aspirants to run for either councilorship or chairman, chief, the local government election, who are not successful, their monies will be refunded tomorrow.
The governor also pleaded with leaders whose expectation may have been disappointed to bear with the party and make sacrifice for the sake of the party in particular and the state in general.
We want to use the opportunity of this local government election to push back government to the grassroots, to encourage participation of the grassroots, to see whether some of our leaders they will consider going back home to operate from their homes.
Governor Hope Uzodinma further reassures the public that the election will proceed as scheduled, the Imo State Electoral Commission, on September 21st, 2024. Kikelomo Okeri, Global Television News. The Imo
Kikelomo Okeri there, following up on the grassroots elections in Imo State scheduled for this Saturday. Thank you, Kikelomo. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to strengthening cooperation with the People's Republic of China in key areas such as renewable energy, healthcare, and education. The governor made the pledge at the 75th anniversary celebration held at Lekki, Lagos. The governor, represented by his deputy, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, praised China as a valuable partner and friend whose cooperation had unlocked new potential in the sub-Saharan region. Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo has approved the appointment of individuals to serve as members of the Anambra State's Civil Service Commission. In a statement issued by the Governor's Press Secretary, Christian Aburime, Governor Soludo says the move is part of his administration's ongoing commitment to enhancing the efficiency and effectiveness of the state's civil service system. You're watching News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. When News Cycle returns, Bamako Airport closed as gunmen attack police base in Mali. Details of these and more after the break. Do stay with us. This is Global Television, bringing you live broadcast of News Cycle with Uyi Agmofwegwe. Thank you for your time with us. Now time to turn to business. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has confirmed that it will sustain its ways and means advances to the federal government at the 5% limit for the fiscal years 2024 to 2025. The latest development is contrary to a bill passed by the National Assembly, which raised the maximum borrowing percentage in the Act from 5% to 10%. This information is based on the Monetary, Credit, Foreign Trade and Exchange Policy Guidelines for the fiscal years 2024 to 2025 as published by the Apex Bank. Following the agreement between the federal government and the Dangote refineries on the sale of premium motor spirits to NNPC Limited, the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association says the deal could signal the end of petrol scarcity and lead to reduced pressure on forex demand. Speaking in Lagos, Director General of the association, Adewale Smart Oyerinde, hailed the landmark pricing agreement that led to the lifting of petrol from the Dangote refinery. He stated that this singular event has the potential to change the perennial fuel scarcity situation in the country and reduce the pressure on the local currency. Still in the oil sector, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has sealed filling stations and fined no fewer than 3 marketers for allegedly receiving stolen fuels following operations conducted by the personnel of the Nigeria Customs Service in August of 2024. The operations led to the interception of 7 petrol trucks, sealing of 12 retail outlets, and the seizure of 466,000 liters of petrol as well as 23 vehicles. The Nigeria Customs Service noted that 7 suspects were prosecuted after an investigation into the matter. On the foreign scene, rescuers in Sierra Leone are continuing to search for more survivors after a 7-story building collapsed in the capital, Freetown, killing at least 8 people. The West African country's National Disaster Management Agency says 6 people had been rescued from the rubble on Shaw New Road so far, but more people remain trapped, stating that some of those in the rubble had been able to communicate their locations to rescuers. Gunmen have attacked a military police base in the Malian capital, Bamako, where gunfire and explosions have been heard and the airport closed down. Volleys of gunfire interspersed with explosions began at around 5 a.m. local time, and black smoke could be seen rising from an area near the airport. However, the suspects have not been formally identified. Hong Kong has experienced its hottest Mid-Autumn Festival since records began in 1884, with temperatures hitting 33.8 degrees Celsius. The Hong Kong Observatory warned that the weather is very hot and urged the public to take precautions such as drinking more water and avoiding vigorous outdoor activities. Russian Foreign Ministry says 2 Chinese Coast Guard ships arrived in Russia's Far East for a series of joint drills and patrols with Moscow's forces. The exercise, dubbed Pacific Patrol 2024, comes just a week after Chinese and Russian warships sailed through the Sea of Japan for a different drill, and as both countries ramp up their military cooperation. Meanwhile, Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, has announced a global ban on several Russian state media networks, accusing them of using deceptive tactics to carry out influence operations and evade detection on its platforms. Meta stated that after a careful consideration, it has expanded its ongoing enforcement against Russian state media outlets. The ban, which targets networks such as Rossiya, Segundia, and RT, formerly Russia Today, is expected to take effect in the coming days. Myanmar military says the number of people in the country who have died in the wake of Typhoon Yagi rose to more than 220, with nearly 80 others still missing. The storm swept through northern Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, and Myanmar in early September and has killed more than 500 people across the region so far, that's according to official figures. It triggered severe floods and mudslides in Myanmar, leaving at least 226 dead as whole villages were wrecked. Quite sad. A gunman hid for nearly 12 hours in bushes before Donald Trump played an unscheduled game of golf at his Oceanfront Club in Florida, leaving locals stunned at what authorities say appears to be the second attempt to assassinate the former president. It was hot and cloudy on Sunday afternoon when Trump and his good friend, real estate developer Steve Witkoff, arrived on the course of Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. The former president was on the 5th fairway on area adjacent to the busy roads near Palm Beach International Airport when a member of his protection detail spotted the rifle poking out of foliage by the 6th hole. And in sports, Super Falcons midfielder Ngozi Okobi has announced the birth of her child. The former Eskilstuna of Sweden midfielder announced the arrival of her baby on Tuesday via social media. Nigerian stars Victor Boniface and Frank Onyeka have been included in the Bundesliga Team of the Week. The Bundesliga Best 11 was compiled and published on the X handle. Boniface was the standout performer for Bundesliga champions Bayer Leverkusen in their 4-1 win away to Hoffenheim. After setting up Leverkusen's first goal scored in the 17th minute, Boniface then made it 2-0 in the 30th minute. Atalanta forward and 2024 Ballon d'Or nominee Ademola Lookman is looking forward to a new challenge as the Europa League champions battle Arsenal in their first game of the remodified UEFA Champions League on Thursday. Gian Piero Gasperini's side will host the Gunners at the Gewiss Stadium on their return to the competition after a 2-year absence. Lookman and his teammates will head into the game on the back of a thrilling 3-2 win over Fiorentina in the Serie A, a game that saw the Nigerian score 1 goal and provide 1 assist on his first league appearance this season. And that's a full circle on the news, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Just a quick reminder to our viewers that we are on DSTV channel 365, Star Times 276, and free to air on Nigecomsat. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using Global TVNG and other handles as you now see on your screen. I am Uyi Agumofwebe. Thank you very much for watching. At top of the hour, it will be time to bring you Big Talk with Edikan Michael. Have a great time watching.